Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Looking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Got Jacob Beck and Casey Gaines back there on the ones and twos. Usually Sharie Aack with us on Tuesdays. He was at the Senior Bowl yesterday. So we'll chat with Sharie today coming up at 2:30. It's a What If Wednesday. Got a few of those, but there's room for some more if you're in the Bayou Ford chat or on Twitter at HuntPalmer88 and want to fire a what if at us. We will certainly get to that. The Saints continue to go through offensive coordinator interviews. More on that in 15 minutes. And Tennessee and Virginia, the states, suing the NCAA. What does that mean for the future of collegiate athletics? I'll dive into that a little bit at the top of hour number 2. We start today with LSU football recruiting because LSU picked up a commitment since we were last with you from 4-star offensive lineman Devin Harper. Now, Devin Harper is obviously an excellent player solely because he's from Shreveport, the greatest place to be from in the world. Maybe an exaggeration, but he is from Shreveport, a Calvary Baptist Cavalier, and the latest commitment into LSU's 2025 class. And we understand what this state means to the football program at LSU. It is the lifeblood. There are certainly high-profile star players that come from outside the state. We've had a couple win Heisman trophies in the last 5 years. But when LSU is good, the backbone of the football team comes from this state. When the players in this state that are elite-level prospects go elsewhere, LSU will falter. That's just the reality of collegiate athletics and specifically LSU. And when Brian Kelly got this job, that was probably the biggest question. It wasn't, can he hire coaches? It wasn't, does LSU have the facilities? It wasn't, does he win wherever he goes? It was, how does he fit in the recruiting world down south? Because recruiting at Notre Dame and recruiting at LSU are two very different things. You're recruiting different areas of the country. You're recruiting different profiles of athletes. It's a different thing. And that first year, due to some circumstances out of his control, 6 of the top 10 players in the state left. But since then, he's made a concerted effort to get the players in Louisiana to play for LSU. There's a likelihood that 9 of the top 10 players in the state this cycle in 2024 will sign with LSU. And it's a good class in state. I wouldn't say it's one of the elite level ones. Talking about that 2011 group, 2013 group. Those were the Odell, Jarvis, Freak Johnson, Lael Collins, Jeremy Hill class. Then you move forward to the Leonard Fournette, Malachi Dupree class. This is like that in 2025. And we are a long way from those guys taking pen to paper, 11 months in a lot of cases. But LSU's starting to check them off one by one. The number 1 player in the state, Harlem Berry, St. Martin, committed. Number 2 player in the state, and this is by on 3, Jabari Antoine, cornerback, Westgate, committed. The number 3 player in the state by on 3, Devin Harper, committed yesterday, offensive lineman out of Calvary and Shreveport. Number 4 player in the state, Keelan Moses, linebacker from U-High, committed. Number 7 player in the state, J.D. LaFleur, tight end from Sulphur. Dad was a great player here in the 90s. He's committed. Brett Bordelon, Newman, number 8 player in the country, committed. Teron Francis, number 11 player in the country, Carr, committed. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 11 are already committed to LSU, and none of the top 11 are committed elsewhere. Couple of things about that list of players. St. Martin, down there in New Orleans. Westgate in the 337. Calvary is up in Shreveport. U-High, Capital City, Baton Rouge. Sulphur, Southwest Louisiana. Newman, Uptown, Carr, West Bank. You got basically the entire state covered there and they're committed to LSU. And when you do that and you get this momentum with this many high-profile players in the state, that ball starts to roll downhill, and everybody wants to jump in. And oh, by the way, while you're checking off this elite-level class in Louisiana, one by one, it doesn't hurt that the number one player in the nation, who happens to be from Michigan, Bryce Underwood, is also committed to this class. And that's not it. The number one wide receiver in the nation, DeCorian Moore from Dallas, also in this class. Right now, according to On3, this class of 2025 has 3 5-star commitments, 4 top 20 players in the country, and 9 in the top 250. There are only 10 commitments in the class. You can have a lot of questions on whether or not Brian Kelly can recruit Louisiana, but they're being answered real quickly. Now, whether or not that results in championships, it's an entirely different question. We live in a different world than we did when Brian Kelly took over at LSU because the SEC's got 2 new big dogs in it. There are no divisions, and the playoffs just expanded to 12. So there are a lot more questions on that end than there are about whether or not LSU and this program can recruit the state of Louisiana. We know what he's done with this staff. It's been something we've talked about for 3 weeks. Joe Sloan, Cortez Hankton, Brad Davis, Bo Davis, Blake Baker, Corey Raymond. All these guys, roots in Louisiana. And they don't hide from it. They're throwing the Cajun bash over the weekend. I don't think that's necessarily to recruit a bunch of guys from Northern California. It's about the guys from this state, the boot, the state of football. It's a saying that Brian Kelly came up with right when he got the job. And they are doing a masterful job of putting together this class in state. Devin Harper is the latest, and he fits exactly the profile that LSU has been after since Brian Kelly got this job. He's 6'5", he's 287 pounds. This is a chorus that we've sung over and over and over again. When Brian Kelly is the head coach at LSU, you are not going to sign a bunch of 6'3", 345-pound high school linemen. That is not the way he operates. It's not to say that LSU hasn't had some really good 6'3", 340-pound high school offensive linemen. Trey Turner was that. He was great. It's not the way Brian Kelly sees his offensive line. It's not the way Brad Davis sees his offensive line. They want long, lean guys that fill out and can move. And that's what they've done year after year after year. And that's what's taken probably the weakest link of the program 3 years ago, the offensive line, and turned it into potentially the greatest strength in the program right now. Devin Harper had offers from Georgia and Florida State. Everybody was in on him. And sometimes people down here in South Louisiana worry about locking down North Louisiana. Well, Devin Harper made that commitment. He's a top 5 player in the state by all 4 services. 24/7's got him as the second best player in the state of Louisiana. But he's a good one and a guy they had to get. And oh, by the way, just as you kind of connect recruiting dots, Devin Harper, Calvary Baptist, offensive lineman commits. He's got a teammate that can play a little bit as well. And you look at Harlem Berry as the number 1 running back in the state of Louisiana. James Simon is the number 2 running back in the state of Louisiana. He goes to Calvary. A&M's in the mix. Texas is in the mix. But LSU very much in the mix. And maybe with his teammate on board, James Simon might look up and go, I'd like to jump in as well. He's a number 5 player in the state by On3. That would give LSU commitments from the top 5 players in the state and 6 of the top 7. It's so, so important. And I understand that there are many of you, and I would probably join you in this in saying that it's tough to follow recruiting these days. And with the transfer portal, sometimes these wins are nullified down the line. So how can I get excited about it right now? And that's a perfectly reasonable place to be coming from. Perfectly reasonable. You can look at A&M's class from 2 years ago, the greatest class ever. Half of it's gone. And the coach got fired. So I understand. But the best way to win in college athletics and college football is to recruit great high school players. And in LSU's case, when you're talking about baseball, basketball, football, it's about recruiting guys with professional futures. And this state produces a ton of them. And LSU has got to get their hands on them out of high school if they're going to be successful. You can look at what Lane Kiffin's doing in Oxford and think that looks all shiny and pretty, and it might work and it might not. I don't know. I know what does work, and that's recruiting 5-star and high 4-star players and developing them. You know who does that? Nick Saban. You know who's been doing that? Kirby Smart. We'll see if the Kiffin method works. I know this one does. And LSU's doing an awesome, awesome job. And I'm not somebody that follows recruiting day by day by day, and we talk to Shay about it, and we talk to Billy about it a lot. But this is the important stuff. And when you've got a class in Louisiana that's got this many high-end players, getting them all in the boat before they finish their junior year of high school is massive. And I expect this class to get nothing but better because of the momentum that LSU's created, 1 in the state and 2 with those high-profile out-of-state commits. This could be a monster, monster class for LSU, and that's the best way to start cultivating a championship program. Hats off to Brian Kelly. Hats off to Brad Davis, the entire staff for getting that done. They're doing some recruiting work right now. Terry Bussey is in town, the 2024 product. That's a 5-star recruit, and we'll see where things shake out with that one coming up next week when signing day for the late signing period for the 2024 class. But right now, we're talking about the 2025 class, and it is a special, special looking group right now for Brian Kelly and the LSU football program. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll do What If Wednesday coming up in 15 minutes. Big news from the courts as Tennessee and Virginia are suing the NCAA. We'll get to some of that a little bit later. When we come back, the Saints are continuing to conduct interviews with offensive coordinator candidates. Got a couple of new names that I haven't talked about yet. We'll do that coming up next.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
ESPN Bet is now live in our state of Louisiana. It's the official sportsbook of ESPN. ESPN Bet's the only place to find daily exclusives and offers with your favorite ESPN personalities and shows. You can sign up today, and new users get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. All you got to do is deposit a little bit of money, make one wager on an NBA game tonight or whatever it is that you like on the board, and when you make that bet, you get $100 in bonus bets. You can find all your favorite markets and bets in-game wagering. You're watching a game, you see a trend you like, jump on it right there on the ESPN Bet app. You can do cross-sport parlays, teasers, and all the props you can handle. We know those come in handy here in a couple of weeks for the big game out in Vegas. That's ESPN Bet. Download today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with LeBair's Casino. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9%.
Charles Hannigrove, join us for the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Julie Pearl Oyster Bar and Town Square Pizza. Joining us from Las Vegas, Dwayne Colucci and Matt Humans. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
What If Wednesday coming up in 15 minutes. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Generally speaking, the entire Saints brass makes the trip over to Mobile, closest NFL team to the Senior Bowl. But that's not the case this year because Dennis Allen is in New Orleans interviewing offensive coordinator candidates. So we saw Jeff Ireland was there, and Saints certainly have a presence at the Senior Bowl, but it's a little lessened this year because they've got work to do in terms of offensive coordinators. And we continue to hear names that are presented, and we've gone through a lot of them. Gerard Johnson said he's going to stay in Houston. We don't know about the 2 guys in San Francisco, what they're going to do, potentially have to wait through the Super Bowl with that. But there are another couple names that I'd like to talk about that have been interviewed reportedly by New Orleans. One of them is Luke Getsy. Luke Getsy has been in my NFL world for a couple of years now, as you well know, because he's been in Chicago, and I've got some social media eyeballs focused at Chicago for my Cubbies, but it intersects with the Bears and Bulls and Blackhawks at times, and during football season, I was getting a lot of Luke Getsy content, and not very much of it was positive, because the Bears weren't very good and Justin Fields wasn't playing all that well. He certainly wasn't playing consistently well. Luke Getsy is a young man. He turns 40 coming up next month. He's been in the NFL as a coach since 2014. His best work, and I use air quotes there, certainly came in 2 years where he was Aaron Rodgers' quarterback coach in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers was the MVP in back-to-back seasons. That's fantastic. He moved over to Chicago, division rival, to take over offensive coordinator duties there in 2022 and 2023. He did call the plays for the Bears. Bears were 18th in the NFL in points per game last year and 20th in yards per game. It was not a great offense, but it's an offense that was piloted by Justin Fields, and how much do we know about how good Justin Fields is? It makes a lot of sense that Luke Getsy's got a great offense when he's got Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and a not-so-great offense when he's got Justin Fields as a quarterback. So what do we glean from that? I don't know. What I know is that New England's interested in Luke Getsy and New Orleans is interested in Luke Getsy, and they're both interviewing him multiple times. Question for Luke Getsy is, like, which of those is a little bit more attractive? And that probably comes out in the answers that he's given in the New England interview. Because it's one thing if you're going to be the offensive coordinator in New England and Mac Jones is the guy that your wagon's hitched to. That's not a very attractive career opportunity. It's quite another if at number 3, the Patriots are planning on taking Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels, whoever's there. Then all of a sudden, you've got fresh clay to mold. Your expectations might dip a little bit. That's a pretty comfy work environment to have a top 3 quarterback pick in his first year. Or do you want to go where you got a guy that knows the position, like Aaron Rodgers did when you took over, and you deal with Derek Carr, who may not have the upside of any of those guys, but he knows what he's doing and can run an offense. I think it's an interesting dichotomy there between the two options that Luke Getsy may have. Greg Lewis is another option the Saints have reportedly interviewed a couple of times. 43 years old, another young coach. He was actually with the Saints in 2015 as an assistant. He was the Eagles wide receiver coach in 2016 and then moved over to the Chiefs from 2017 to 2022 where he coached wide receivers. To me, that's two really good places to work in those time frames. Doug Peterson with Philly and Andy Reid with KC, Eric Bieniemy as well. That's a lot of really, really good offensive minds that Greg Lewis has been around. He was with the Ravens this year. They had a great offense. They're going to produce the MVP from this year. The knock on Greg Lewis, he has never called plays. That is the case with quite a few of the people that the Saints have interviewed. And it's not a requirement for the job. It's just nice to have that experience. Everybody's got to have their first chance to call plays. Sean McVay had his first chance to call plays. Kyle Shanahan had his first chance to call plays. Mike McDonald has his first chance to call plays. Like, everybody's got to get their break somewhere. Question is, if you're Dennis Allen and you feel like you're going into the most important year of your professional life, do you want somebody who's never called plays doing it? I don't know. Brian Johnson is another name that has come up. He's turns 37 next month. He was Philly's offensive coordinator this year, was let go after that year. They just hit a wall at some point around Thanksgiving, and it just shut down. And Brian Johnson has had a mobile quarterback essentially everywhere he's ever been, whether it's in college or the NFL. Jalen Hurts being the most recent example of that. And Derek Carr is the antithesis of a mobile quarterback. He's got lead feet. Good arm, lead feet. So I'm not really here to break news or give earth-shattering opinions on these offensive coordinator candidates that the Saints are firing out there. There are absolutely positives with all of them, and there are drawbacks with each and every one of them. I would personally, if I were Dennis Allen, like to have someone come in that has called plays before. I would lean to that side. Not a requirement, but I would lean to that side. And I think Luke Getsy makes some sense here. Being a guy that has worked with a veteran quarterback, it went well that way, and then you had some bumps in the road to get in Chicago. Chicago has not been very stable really ever, but certainly not in the last 10 years or so. They've juggled quarterbacks, Fields, Trubisky. They had a year with Andy Dalton up there. There was the Cutler. Like, they haven't gotten on the same page with the quarterback. They've juggled coaches as well. The general manager's been in and out. Like, it's been a messy situation in Chicago. They've got bad ownership that puts bad people in charge, and they haven't done a good job, especially on the offensive side of things. And I hesitate to hold Justin Fields' performance directly against Luke Getsy. I'm also not going to throw a ton of flowers at him because Aaron Rodgers won the MVP while he was the quarterback coach there. That guy kind of knows what he's doing. But I think that those experiences in dealing with a guy at the top of the league and dealing with a guy trying to figure out the league are valuable on both sides of the spectrum. And I think the Saints are a pretty stable offense to come into. Not explosive, not dynamic, not elite by any circumstance, but it's a pretty stable spot, like Green Bay would have been with just a much better quarterback. There's an element of fear that goes into going to New England and having a rookie quarterback. There's an element of comfort, I think, that comes with coaching an experienced quarterback. And I think Luke Getsy makes a lot of sense. He's certainly available, and they can make that happen whenever it is they want. The longer this drags out, and it's Wednesday now, if this goes through the weekend and they haven't hired any of these guys that they've interviewed multiple times, doesn't it start to feel like San Francisco is where you need to have eyes? That's just the read that I have. The Saints have the luxury of time. They're not in a huge hurry. Now, they're in a competition with some other teams that are looking for offensive coaches, and they continue to be hired. So from that perspective, there's a little bit of a rush on time. But as far as like identifying your guy, you need to get that done and worry about that more than you do what day it's announced. But my read on the situation as we continue to hear multiple interviews from all these candidates is, if they don't announce anything, I'm looking at the Super Bowl, and I think that's what's holding this up. And there's no rule that says you can't announce a hiring before a guy coaches in the Super Bowl. That happens sometimes. Certainly happens in the college game. A lot of coordinators get head jobs in December before playing in a college football playoff. But to me, I just think we're starting to drift towards, okay, maybe this is a Brian Greasy situation. But time will tell. Saints right now have a presence at the Senior Bowl where our guys are, and certainly are continuing to conduct these interviews as more names surface, more folks are reported. We'll continue to kind of give our thoughts on them and kind of a brief bio on them. But I think right now it feels like a little bit of San Francisco. We'll see. That's our look at the black and gold for today. We'll get Sharie Aack's thoughts on it coming up in hour number 2. He'll join us at 2:30. Sharie was at the Senior Bowl. I want to hear what he thought of Jeff Ireland's comments and kind of what he thinks about the ongoing offensive coordinator situation. We'll do that with Sharie from WDSU coming up at the bottom of hour number 2. All right, we'll play What If Wednesday coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team been in the game 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, may lock in a great interest rate a couple of years ago. You don't want to move, but you could use a little bit of an upgrade. How about a customized brand spanking new bathroom? They can do the entirety of that work. You don't have to call 4 different contractors to get the bathroom of your dreams. You can do one call. One Bath and Closets. They come in, they customize it, soup to nuts, as David Duvall and his team say, but you won't know what they can do for you unless you get that free consultation that you can find at OneBathAndClosets.com. Go to the website, check out the pictures of their great work, the testimonials, and request that free consultation so David and his team can come in and show you what they can do for you. Brand new bathroom? Gotta love it. One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 lifted trucks. $10,000 off new Ford F-150 and 3.9% financing. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. the local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams.
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. Saints reportedly zeroing in on an offensive coordinator. What candidates remain? It's a Whiskey Wednesday, Pluckers trivia, lots of fun stuff. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Join us tomorrow at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and MMR. They are bringing you live coverage for the final day that OTB will be there for the 2024 Reese's Senior Bowl. Our coverage is brought to you locally by MMR, and you can listen to it on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and watch on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Great stuff all week from the boys down in Mobile. They go every single year and always do a great job of churning out the content. They've been some really, really good shows. If you missed them, go check them out on demand. 245ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your audio. You can find all of the stuff, the good stuff from the Senior Bowl. They're also on their YouTube channel as well. Rivers has had them up and running on YouTube as well. So good stuff from Jacob and T-Bob all week long. They'll have one more day down there from Mobile coming up tomorrow. All right, let's play some What If Wednesday. Back.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, first one here. What if you got an offer to go to space?
I'm out. I have no interest in going to space.
Absolutely not.
I am not qualified, one, to learn all that stuff. And I mean, I think the movie like The Martian, which is obviously very much fiction because he's on Mars. But I have no interest in any of that. There was actually a text in my group, a big group text I have, was talking about whether or not you'd like to go to space. And my response to it was I'd rather go to Orange Beach than space. I have no interest in going up there where it's that dangerous and you're confined. I'm out. I have zero Elon Musk in me that we're colonizing the moon or whatever it is that we're supposed to be doing. I'm out.
Even if the flights to space were as safe as a commercial airliner?
It's just a different thing. Commercial airliner, I'm going somewhere. I don't care about going to the moon. What do you do on the moon? I don't want to.
You just do it so you can say you've been in space.
I don't want to. I'll just say I've been to space. I don't ever want to go to space. I just have none interest. Do you want to go to space?
No, not really. I don't even really particularly like flying, to be honest with you.
I like flying. First of all, I don't fly very much. So that is, I think, one of the reasons that I don't mind it. Because people that fly a lot, for work or whatever, inevitably run into some issues. I haven't had a lot of huge airline issues. They did make me miss first 2 innings of a Cubs game a couple years ago, which was a total disaster. But as far as being in an airport, it's basically like a sports bar. They got beers, they got quesadillas, they got TVs, read a book, listen to your music. You just kind of checked out, and then you're up in the air. You bring me a scotch, I'll watch a movie. I don't mind flying at all. I'm fine with flying.
All right, next one here. What if you got to decide the future of the PMAC?
First of all, I think to myself when I go to a basketball game, this is a fine place to watch a college basketball game. Then I do look at Ole Miss and Mississippi State last night playing in the Pavilion in Oxford, and that place was on fire, and they had light shows going, and they've got the students down there right by the court, and Auburn Arena is the same. It's small and it's packed, and look, the PMAC was fantastic for the girls' game against South Carolina. It's great for gymnastics meets in terms of the environment, so that can exist. But if I'm getting to decide, I'm probably just going to renovate the current one. I like where it is on campus, and we'll put suites in, the luxury seating and whatnot, and kind of make it probably a smaller capacity, kind of change the functionality of it. I don't hate the idea of building one where the Cow Palace is, or building one out by, where Tiger Park is by the levee or whatever. I'm not very good at imagining how big an arena is and where it fits and where it doesn't. And I'm certainly not an expert on traffic flow and what needs to happen. But I like where the PMAC is currently. I think they could probably dress it up with some premium seating and shrinking the attendance and adding some amenities that way. That would probably be my go-to.
All right, next one here. What if you could have either Paul Skeens or Dylan Cruz back?
So this pitching staff is going to be the strength of the team. It's very good. It's very deep. They don't need more arms. And the offense I'm concerned about, quite frankly.
Seems like an easy choice then.
But I'm going to take Paul Skeens because he's essentially a free win. He's a free win on Fridays in league play. He's a free win in the regional. He's a free win in the super. He's a free win in Omaha.
Dylan Cruz is not a free win.
He is not a free win. He's the best player that's ever played at LSU, but he's not a free win. I mean, I probably can't remember off the top of my head. I know Arkansas won a game that Skeen pitched in the regular season. That was an extra inning game. I know that they also won a game he pitched in the SC tournament, but they took him out early in that game. Is that the only two that Skeens lost that LSU lost when Skeens pitched? They didn't lose any in the non-conference. And I want to say that those are the only. Oh, no, South Carolina. South Carolina hit a homer and it started raining.
They had the rain delay.
Skeens had to come out. So
I remember that.
They lost 3 times when he pitched last year. One, he was taken out early because they were saving him for the postseason. One, rain came and knocked him out, and he had struck out 9 guys in 4 innings. And then the other was extra innings, and it was a 2-1 game, I think. So 3-2 game, 3-2, I think. So that's like a free win, basically. I can't turn that down in that sport. It's just too important. I would take Cruz back gladly, but it's got to be Skeens.
What if you could pick the Super Bowl halftime show?
See, that makes me think 2 different ways. One is the songs I want to hear, which is going to end up being like country. But that's not a great show. And the other part is do you want to see the show, the pyrotechnics and the dancing and all that kind of stuff? If you're asking me who I want to hear play songs, it's Thomas Rhett. And I don't think he would put on a heck of a Super Bowl show. I saw him in Lafayette, enjoyed the hell out of it. Do I think that that's what the masses want to see, or I really want to see on my TV for the Super Bowl? No. So who's putting on outside of Taylor Swift the show these days? Is it who's the top of the food chain? I don't care about that.
I know you don't. I'm just saying that he's one of the top, touring artists.
This is how pathetically dated. Is Beyonce still rocking it?
Well,
or
yeah, she had
and she's done that. She's done it.
Yeah.
Did she do it with J-Lo? Who did it with J-Lo?
No, someone did. Shakira did it with.
Shakira did it with J-Lo.
That
was awesome. They were great. That's the show aspect. They're dancing. They got a bunch of people up on stage making it happen.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. I don't really need Taylor Swift. That would be the obvious answer here. And certainly no one wants to hear my bro country guys up there singing with a guitar and wearing some blue jeans. That's not going to get it done.
Yeah, Tom Petty wasn't exactly the greatest.
But some people love that stuff.
Yeah.
Who's the consensus greatest? I liked Katy Perry. I thought that was good.
I know a lot of people say Michael Jackson, and then
didn't they do
Prince as well?
Yeah, a few years ago they did a whole a bunch of hip hop artists that cycled through. That was really good too. Prince was good. It's so far out of my element. Do you have one? Is Drake your answer?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really like Drake. I mean, I like him. I think he's pretty good. I don't know that I'd want him to be the headliner of the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't know. I really liked Bruno Mars when he did it.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Man, it's tough. I would like to see maybe I like a lot of current rock music. I'd like to see maybe the Foo Fighters. I think they put on a great show.
What about Third Eye Blind? Are they still kicking it?
Yeah. I think they're still touring.
Matchbox 20.
I think they're still touring the casinos right now.
You can catch them at the Beau Rivage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could actually.
All right, next.
All right, this is the last one. What if you could mandate a team return to their old uniforms?
Oh, Matchbox 20. Mandate a team return to their old uniforms. If you come to mind there, I think the one that is most pronounced to me is the Diamondbacks, because what they're wearing currently with that red and the dark grays on the road is just atrocious. And if they went back to the 90s with the purple and the teal, that's 1,000 times better. They won the World Series in those.
Yeah.
Why are you going away from that?
Yeah.
I feel the same way about the Marlins with the Miami on the front and the red and the yellow. Like, that doesn't work. Go back to the teal. That was uniquely Marlins. That would be another one. I think the Seahawks look terrible now, and the old blue ones like Cortez Kennedy wore were way better. I would
the Patriots,
submit
I
those.
think.
Oh, Patriots 100%.
Yeah.
They looked way better with the Patriot Pat or Patriot Pete.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember what his name is.
But whatever that.
Also,
put
the
guy on
Oilers.
top.
The Oilers. Houston need to
Yeah.
be the Oilers. Like, I know all the stuff with the Titans, but they need to be the Oilers. I mean, that's one of the best uniforms in the history of the NFL.
What do you feel about the Astros like multicolored orange tops from the 70s?
I actually like their '90s run with like the navy blue and the gold.
That was
I
when they were
actually
in
really
the
liked
NL
that.
Central, and I hated them
Yeah,
deeply. So,
yeah.
But it did help me that they were on Fox Sports Southwest. So sometimes when the Cubs weren't on WGN,
There
they'd
you
be on
go.
Fox Sports Southwest, so I could catch those games. I think the Astros are better right now with the blue and orange.
Yeah,
than
they
were
are
in the
probably.
navies.
Yeah.
But I think for me,
Is there any other baseball? I'm trying to think if there's any baseball. I mean, I really like the Expos. I think they had really cool unis.
Did you know that the Expos logo has an M, an E, and a B in it?
I did not.
It
It's
looks like
the
just
way
an
it's-
M.
yeah.
But if you look at it, it's got an M, an E, and a B, and they're red, white, and blue. That was good. Who else? Like the Patriots is a good one. That one may get up there with the Diamondbacks. I think because the Patriots look okay now and the Diamondbacks
The
look
Falcons
abhorrent.
too, I think.
You want to go back to the red?
I like the red with the old Falcon logo.
I forgot they have like ATL on the front now, which
I
looks really
don't-
stupid.
It's really bad.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Do the Magic still have pinstripes?
I don't know.
I'm sure they wear
I
a
don't-
different uniform.
Yeah,
every
they
night,
have. They have
so-
like 8 uniforms. They should. Yeah, the Shaq era Magic uniforms were really salty.
And there's got to be some good NBAs that I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
The Magic are the obvious one that comes to mind.
Yeah, of course, the Jazz should be the New Orleans Jazz. I mean,
Yes.
that should not be in Utah, but
That's another one. When I turn on the Jazz and they're in like black and
yeah,
red.
what is-
I thought they were purple and green. Those Karl Malone '90s jerseys,
Oh,
were
yes.
those
Yeah.
with the mountains on them were sick.
Those were good.
The '90s in an NBA
The
jerseys were
Supersonics-
kind of
the
really
Supersonics,
ugly,
really
but they
good.
were kind of really awesome too.
Yeah.
We'll take any of your submissions there in the Bayou 4 chat into some teams that needed to go back to their White Sox. You want to go back to the shorts that they wore at a certain point?
The shorts, yeah.
All right. So RIP Left Shark. Who was that? Katy Perry?
Katy Perry,
Super
yeah.
Bowl?
She had the Sharks, yep. Left Shark, man.
What happened to the Shark? I remember it was a big deal to like fall off the stage or something, or
I can't remember if
was
like
it just not doing anything.
Something
There was-
happened. He was like different than all the other Sharks. I don't remember why, but
It's like the ugly duckling of Shark halftime show
Yeah.
Sharks. All right, I think we're sufficiently off the rails there for What If Wednesday. That is another edition of What If Wednesday. We'll take a time out. We'll close out hour number 1 coming up next.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter, Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutique. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
For a Thursday edition of Off the Bench, Jake and T-Bob wrapping up their final day of Senior Bowl coverage from Mobile, Alabama. They'll continue to talk college football, obviously, and we'll have our Munchie segment with LSU executive chef Michael Johnson. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Half that work week in the rearview mirror. It's a Wednesday afternoon here in the capital city. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Big Saturday of college basketball in the capital city. LSU and Arkansas, 11 o'clock over in the PMAC. And just a couple of hours after that, Baton Rouge Community College going to welcome in Southern University of Shreveport for a 4 o'clock tip over there. Brock Cantrell is the AD over at BRCC, and he joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Brock, how are you, sir?
What's up, Hot? How you been, baby?
Been very, very good. It's a new era of BRCC men's basketball. Got a new coach and a new team, and things have gone well this year.
It's been good, Hot. We're off to a pretty good start. We're 7-8 right now. We've played a lot of the best teams out of Mississippi, a couple top 25 teams, and have had some leads in those games. Just hadn't quite put together, but I think, we're turning this page into conference in the second half of the season, and I think we're ready to go.
I went to a game with my son last year when y'all played Bipsy over in the gym. Just a gorgeous facility to watch basketball over there at BRCC. I know y'all are really proud of it.
It's awesome, man. It's a little gold mine, and since you've been there, we've redone a lot of stuff. We redid the locker rooms for our guys. We built a recharge room for our athletes to go and get nutrition and hang out between classes. And we redid the weight room. We're trying to, it's everybody's always said this place is a gold mine waiting to happen, and we're trying to push it into a gold mine that is there, not waiting to happen.
And part of that is the new athletic booster club that y'all are using to champion those student athletes. Give us some details on that and how people can get involved.
Yeah, it's been great that, we have the foundation over at the college, and it's a great job fundraising for us, and we just added another leg to that. And, it gives somebody a reason to give, right? You're part of a booster club. You have ownership in it. There's T-shirts we give out at certain levels. You can come to a team practice at a certain level. You can get a pullover at a certain level. We're kind of legitimizing what we're doing. And the best way to do it is you go to www.brcc.f/BABC for Bears Athletic Booster Club.
It's an awesome thing you got going. A tip-off at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Your boys going to get a W?
Man, we sure are going to try. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I've got Geo Next Generation High School Band coming to play there. It's a 35-piece band in the stands. They'll bring their cheerleaders. We'll have our cheerleaders there and our band as well. We're giving away free McDoubles to the first 50 students for the game. It should be, probably one of the most electric atmospheres in that place in probably its history. And it's hope we get some people from the general public out there to come take a peek.
Go check it out. Baton Rouge Community College will take on Southern University Shreveport. 4 o'clock tip, as he mentioned. First 50 students going to get free McDoubles. We'll have the Geo Prep band there as well. Should be a lot of fun. Brock, thanks for jumping on and letting the people know about it. We'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man.
He is Brock Cantro. He's the AD over there at Baton Rouge Community College. Again, 4 o'clock tip-off. I'll tell you this. A lot of you would go, well, Baton Rouge Community College, I didn't even know that. Well, here's the deal. It's a great facility. It's college basketball. And I brought the little one there. He was just 2. And it's a great place to bring a kid where maybe a little bit too high maintenance over at the PMAC. It's expensive sometimes to go see an SEC basketball game as well. You can get it over there at BRCC for very, very affordable. It's great to get out there and support somebody in the community and watch that team play a little bit of basketball. So if you're looking for something to do on Saturday afternoon, like a little hoops, 4 o'clock tip-off over there at Baton Rouge Community College. Lot to get to in hour number 2 and excited to get to it. We're going to have Sharie Aack coming up here in about 35 minutes. He'll join us. He's in New Orleans now. He's at the Senior Bowl yesterday. Curious his thoughts on Jeff Ireland, the comments that Jeff Ireland made, talking about Trevor Penning and some of the other topics that he brought up. Also want to hear a little bit about what Sharie thinks about the ongoing offensive coordinator search in New Orleans. They've done a lot of interviews, and the process continues to drag a little bit. I gave my thoughts on that a little bit earlier. Curious to see what Sharie thinks about it. And the Pelicans, really, really strong 3.5 quarters up there in Boston this week, and then it just slipped away late. Offense got a little stagnant, and the Celtics got it done. The Pels feasting on the poor teams in the NBA, doing well against the middle class of the NBA. And then you start to play those elite franchises, and the Pelicans having trouble getting over the hump. So we'll talk to Sharie a little bit about that coming up in the second hour. And another thing that we're going to get to in hour number 2 is the importance of this lawsuit that was filed this morning. Tennessee and Virginia, the states, are filing suit against the NCAA for name, image, and likeness issues. And I think it could be a watershed moment in collegiate athletics. I'll give some of my thoughts coming up in hour number 2 about that as well. So don't miss any of that. If you did miss any of hour number 1, you can certainly catch all that on demand. The meat of hour number 1 was the top of the show, which is the commitment that LSU secured from yet another top-flight in-state prospect, Devin Harper from Calvary, 4-star offensive lineman, one of the top 5 players in the state by everybody. And I kind of talked about what this means for LSU moving forward with this 2025 class that is vital to the health of this program. And they're getting off to an amazing start with it. I went through the entire class, what they've got committed, what they're looking at in the rest of the state. If you missed any of that, you can catch it at our YouTube channel, Hunt on LSU. All LSU football, all the time, Hunt on LSU. You can catch on YouTube. You can also catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound, you can find my thoughts on LSU there. Saints offensive coordinator hires. When's it going to happen, and who are they looking at? We went into that. You can find that on YouTube at Hunt on Saints. And it was also a What If Wednesday. I also want to invite you to check out Musso at the Box. It's going to be a video component to his baseball musings every single day. And we've gotten some questions on Twitter from a lot of you. Hey, Hunt and Musso, are y'all going to do your season baseball preview like you've done the last couple of years? I have the answer to that question. It is yes. We will do that. Musso is going to crank up Musso at the Box coming up. I think on Friday will be his first edition of that podcast. And then next week sometime we'll record. I'd like to go out and see LSU's baseball team a couple more times before we record it. Maybe get a couple more press conferences under our belt so that we can hear a little bit more detail from what Jay's actually thinking. And then Musso and I will record that coming up sometime next week. Usually we go for about an hour, talk to the entire pitching staff, go through the lineup position by position, and give some predictions on what we think will happen in the year. I went back and listened to a little bit of last year's season preview. Got some right, got some real wrong. But that's the beauty of the preseason podcast. Me and Musso will go through an hour-long preview of the LSU baseball team, Musso in the Box, coming up next week, and then we'll probably make it live maybe the Monday before opening day, which is coming up quick. We've got this Friday, and then 2 weeks from that Friday, LSU will open against VMI out at the Box, and so me and Musso will get you ready for that one. I've been listening to a lot of preview podcasts from around the SEC. The guys over at Highway to Hoover are doing a 20-minute podcast on like every team in the SEC at this point, and I've knocked out a few of those. So we're getting close to a little bit of baseball time, and I'm excited to go out and see him practice again tomorrow, and we'll have a little bit more baseball for you coming up on Friday. We're going to take a pause for Sports Center right now at the top of the hour. When we come back, what does the lawsuit mean for the future of collegiate athletics? I think it could be a big, big deal. We'll talk about that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Seahawks, the latest NFL team to fill its head coaching vacancy. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports they've agreed on a 6-year deal with Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald. The 36-year-old will be the NFL's youngest head coach. Washington's the lone team left with a head coaching opening. 76ers center Joel Embiid, the reigning NBA MVP, will undergo an MRI on his injured left knee, sustained in last night's loss to the Warriors. Phillies dropped 4 in a row, gets back on the court tomorrow in Utah. ESPN NBA senior writer Brian Windhorst.
It's not going great for them right now, but I still love where they are if Embiid's healthy. And that's true whether they make a trade or not. If Embiid is healthy, he is a beast to deal with, and Tyrese Maxey will be named an all-star, I'm almost positive, tomorrow when they announce the reserves. And so they're going to have 2 all-stars that if they're healthy, we'll have a chance.
Brian Windhorst on Unsportsmanlike. The Sixers tied for 4th in the East, 7 back of Boston. Damian Lillard plays his first game as a visiting player against the Trailblazers since the offseason trade to Milwaukee. Coverage tonight at 10 Eastern on ESPN.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. If Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I'll tell you what the expectations should be for Gang Green next season. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, downtown right here in the capital city. Half that work week in the rearview mirror. Thanks for hanging out with us on ESPN Baton Rouge. Busy first hour. Talking some Saints offensive coordinator, some LSU football and recruiting. And I wanted to save this for the top of hour number 2. I think it's a monster story. Now, y'all know this about me. I'm much more comfortable breaking down a regional weekend pitching rotation, going through college baseball RPI numbers or college basketball statistics for a matchup in a game than I am talking about legal proceedings. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I don't know much about lawyering. I just don't. But it's become an ever-increasing part of sports over the last few years because of the drastic changes that have gone on, whether it's the PGA Tour or collegiate athletics. Just a lot of lawyering going on in the world of sports. And this morning, an anthill got kicked in a big way. If you missed this doesn't have anything to do specifically with LSU today, the states, not the athletic departments, the states of Tennessee and Virginia filed suit against the NCAA. If you were paying attention earlier this week, Tennessee is under investigation for potential name, image, and likeness violations. I can connect the dots because they're violations and suggest that it's likely the NCAA is looking for some evidence that Tennessee induced student athletes to attend their school with name, image, and likeness offers. That's against the rules at this point. And the NCAA is looking to crack down on that. And Tennessee is basically the state going, you can't. And Virginia has joined them here. And based on everything that I've read this morning, it would suggest that a lot of other states may well hop in as well. There's a lot of legalese that goes into this. There are a lot of documents. It's a long, long document. But the nuts and bolts as I see it, again, not exactly a law scholar, is it was deemed unconstitutional for the NCAA to tell collegiate athletes you can't make money on your name, image, and likeness. That was unconstitutional. It started in California, swept the nation, boom, it's legal. NCAA had to fold because they were deemed to be running afoul of the law. And so what they did is they said you can do it, but you can't use it as a recruiting inducement. And guess what? That's against the law too. You can't tell adults in this country that they are not allowed to capitalize monetarily on their name, image, and likeness. Whether they win the Heisman Trophy and get a deal selling chicken, or whether they're in high school, they're 18, and a college says, hey, there are some opportunities here if you want to come play for us to make some money. That's how our economy works. It's capitalism. And whether or not you, Joe Fan, or me, Hunt, the radio dude, likes this aspect of collegiate athletics, the law of the land is the law of the land. And the NCAA has run afoul of this for decades, and finally, some folks have said, you know what? We've about had enough of that. We're filing suit. And guess what? Based on everything I've read, the NCAA is going to lose this if it gets to a courtroom. So they can either change the rules or not. And if they don't, they're going to cease to exist. That's what I'm gathering from this. We may be witnessing right now, and I would suggest we probably are witnessing the end of the NCAA as the governing body of collegiate athletics. I cannot even begin to give you the alternative as to who handles it next. I don't know. But the operation of the NCAA and what it has stood for and the grounds it has stood on for decades and decades and decades is crumbling beneath it, and there's nothing they can do because the way that they've operated for decades has been unconstitutional. And finally, some attorneys said, we're done. And I don't know for sure if the state of Tennessee does this, if the University of Tennessee doesn't come under investigation for NIL issues. But I can tell you that the brass in Knoxville was adamant that this would not stand once that investigation was made public. And there have been athletic directors, university presidents, and now senators who have said, sorry, NCAA, this will not stand. We're getting this overturned. Now, in the long term, you see where I'm going here, where this whole thing crumbles. In the short term, there has been a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction filed to allow name, image, and likeness to go now. Meaning they're asking the courts to protect universities and boosters as they pay NIL money and say the NCAA can't do anything about it. This is what we saw with the second transfer rule in basketball that got Jalen Cook eligible last month. That temporary restraining order was filed, it was granted, and boom, everybody's eligible to play. And if this is upheld and that restraining order and injunction is adhered to, like, okay, you can start throwing all kinds of cash at high schoolers above the table. Here, recruiting inducement or not, whatever. That's capitalism. My thought on this entire thing is that I would love it if all the players who played for my team were there because they love good old State U. I would love that. It's not necessarily the reality. And trust me, I watch guys play every single summer for the Chicago Cubs that are there because the most money was available there, or there because they were forced to go there by the draft. And I still love the Chicago Cubs. That's a business. It's a money operation. And I still love it. And I would love it if all the athletes who went to LSU did so because they just bled purple and gold. The fact of the matter is, that while there are going to be a few of those, especially ones that grow up in the state, there's going to be quite a few as well that show up because the dollar signs made sense. And that makes things really volatile, and it makes it really easy to go to the next place because there's more money there, and I know that drives people crazy. But the fact of the matter is this is not changing because these are the laws of the country, not the rules of an organization. It just goes above that. And the NCAA has been operating this way for a very, very long time, and they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So I can't tell you with any degree of certainty whatsoever what the long-term fix is and what the long-term solution is and what the long-term result is of all of these changing policies. I don't know. And I'm not going to sit here and try to speak from a position of authority and give you some sort of concrete answer as to what's coming. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. But I do know that the way things were 5 years ago, the way things were 10 years ago, are not coming back. Because that dam has already broken. And I have not read anyone, whether they're journalist, senator, athletic director, sports analyst, whatever, that has said, oh, yeah, I mean, that's really stupid by the states. The NCAA's got this one in the bag. Every single person that has a comment on this says, yeah, the NCAA's in big trouble. It's too much money involved. It's similar. It's apples and oranges, but it's similar to what's going on in the world of golf right now. There's just too much money out there that people want, and you have to allow them to go get it. And there are antitrust violations if you don't. And the NCAA has been telling people for decades and decades, you can't have this money. And now the people are going, yeah, I can. And they're going to get it. So what do? I always go back to, how does this affect LSU? And if we're going to draw comparisons to professional sports, which is what collegiate athletics has become, LSU's not going to be the Oakland A's in the dilapidated old stadium that nobody attends and they can't spend money on any players and they suck. They're not going to be that. They're also not going to be the Yankees or Dodgers. They don't have endless pockets. And this makes me sick to my core to even say, but you hope, in my opinion, and this is just trying to draw a comparison, that the Cubs run like the St. Louis Cardinals. They're a desirable organization that people want to be a part of. They have money. They don't have the most money. They don't have the least money. They're right there in the middle. But they run a great organization. They win a lot. They've got a really good culture. And they stay relevant in the sport. And I think that's what LSU will be. They're not going to have the most money. Not going to have the least money. It's a desirable place to be. There's a ton of passion behind it. You've just got to be smart and operate the organization the best way that you can. I don't think it's some massive upheaval for LSU. I think it's massive upheaval for crowning a champion in collegiate athletics and the governing body of all these sports. I think that's in for a massive upheaval, but LSU's going to survive all that because LSU's a great place. But things are changing rapidly. And today was a big domino. I didn't really understand it when I saw the initial tweet. It's like, I need to figure out what it is what everybody's talking about. And people are writing about it, and I'm learning as much as I can. It feels like a big deal in the big picture. For our little bitty corner of the store here in Baton Rouge, business as usual. For the NCAA, not. Still plenty to get to here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Sharie Aack going to be with us in 20 minutes talking Saints and Pels. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time that slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps planet deep inside of me.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Resources, complete employer solutions. GlowResources.com.
Westwood One is the only place for exclusive audio coverage of every NFL postseason game. Hi, this is Scott Graham. Join us throughout the month of January and into February as we bring you Super Wildcard Weekend, the Divisional Round, Championship Sunday, and of course Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. All 13 NFL playoff games are on Westwood One. If it's the NFL playoffs, it's right here.
Your home for the NFL is 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
College football talk all year long on the Chuck Oliver Show, weeknights at 6 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Sandegrove, join us for the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch from Julie Pearl Oyster Bar and Town Square Pizza. Joining us from Las Vegas, Dwayne Colucci and Matt Humans. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's a big couple days on campus over there at LSU. This used to be the time of the year where we were just lock, stock, and barrel. Give me all the recruiting information you got. Because signing day being the first Tuesday or Wednesday in February, this was the time. Not necessarily the case anymore. LSU signed essentially their entire class back in December. Dominic McKinley still has to sign on the dotted line, and every anticipation is that he will. But there's one player that's not committed to LSU that LSU is still in the mix for in this recruiting cycle, and that is Terry Bussey, 5-star athlete from Timpson, Texas. He's a 5-star by every recruiting service. He is a top 18 player in the country by every recruiting service. He's the number 1 athlete in the nation by every recruiting service. He is a top 5 player in the state of Texas in every recruiting service. And Terry Bussey is committed to Texas A&M and was committed to Texas A&M prior to the coaching change. Now Mike Elko is in, and Terry Bussey has remained committed to Texas A&M. A lot of the guys decommitted and some recommitted after decommitting. But Bussey has stayed committed. Now, you tell me how committed you are somewhere if you're visiting every school under the sun and getting in-home visits from every coaching staff under the sun. That doesn't seem that committed to me, but that's what it says on the website. I would suggest that Texas A&M is the favorite to get Terry Bussey because he obviously liked Texas A&M enough to commit to them initially. He didn't come off of that commitment, and Texas A&M will get the final visit with Terry Bussey coming up this weekend before things go dark, and then it's signing day. That's always an advantageous position to be in when you can be the final visitor. But LSU gets their chance today and tomorrow to make their push for Terry Bussey, and it would be a monster add to this class at a position of a ton of need. LSU's secondary needs a makeover. And you've brought in Corey Raymond to help with that. And he's got a track record of bringing in high-level defensive backs. But he's coaching corners now at LSU. And you've got a safeties coach that has come in Jake Olson. So that's going to be part of the pitch here. Bussey has come to LSU a couple of times. He's a high-level player, and this is LSU's chance to make a push. You don't see anybody on any service that's making a prediction for LSU. No crystal ball and 247 recruiting prediction machine over on On3. You don't see any of that happening, and I don't think you will. Maybe after the Texas A&M visit, vibes could change. But we'll just have to see when he signs on the dotted line. This is a Texas kid who's been committed to A&M for a long time. He's looked at University of Texas. He's looked at Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and the Tigers have put themselves in the mix. And this class is already really good with or without Bussey. I'm talking about a guy that would be a cherry on top of a dynamic class. He's about 5'11", 180 pounds, really, really good athlete. And he would be a huge get for LSU. But when you saw those shakeups with the On3 recruiting rankings, LSU rose. They're the 7th-ranked class in the country now in a year where the state was a little bit down. Not down. It just wasn't elite like it's going to be in 25 and potentially again in 2026. But if you add Bussey to the mix here, you're going to move up maybe a couple of spots, potentially to a top 5 class in the country if they could do it. They're going to roll out the red carpet. This is not like 6 years ago when everybody was on campus this weekend. It was a free-for-all and a madhouse, and you were trying to do 1,000 different things at once. LSU has one visitor these couple of days. Everybody can be on their P's and Q's and have their full focus on Terry Bussey, whether it's the academic side of things, position coaches, film room. Like, you don't have to split your time anywhere if you're LSU. From the second he gets off the airplane at BTR to the second he boards his flight and sits down in C3, it's Terry Bussey with this LSU staff. We'll chat next week with likely Billy. I know Matt's got Shay on every single Tuesday, I believe. But we'll chat with Billy coming up next week to see how things have gone. This is really the only thing to look at. It's such an odd thing, even years down the road for me, to think about the end of January and the first week of February and it not be 25 signatures and fax machines everywhere and Bayou Bash and National Signing Day coverage on ESPNU for 17 straight hours. Like, it's not. It's just, hey, did Bussey sign? Like, that's the entirety of what we're waiting on here with this class, other than McKinley, who's got to ink. Obviously, McKinley and Bussey have a relationship. Both were committed to Texas A&M at a time. Gabe Relaford, same deal. Maybe those guys can say, hey, the grass might be a little greener over here in Baton Rouge. We'll see. Nothing official at this point, but LSU hosting Terry Bussey for the next 24 hours or so. Hopefully the Tigers can make that flip. It's good sign that he showed up. We'll just see if they're able to make it happen with the 5-star safety from over there in Texas. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Sharie Aack was in Mobile for the Senior Bowl yesterday. We got offensive coordinator to talk about. We got Pels to talk about. All things New Orleans with Sharie Aack coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Been telling you now for about a week about audio video security solutions. You can find them at avssla.com. Whole home audio, TV installation, video surveillance, surround sound in your home. They can help you at audio video security solutions. Just improve your home watching experience. A lot of people would rather watch at home than they would pay the money and fight the traffic and do that to watch games. Well, make your home setup as good as it can possibly be. Mitchell Fisher and his local team will come out and handle all of it. They've got the equipment, they've got the TV, they've got the speakers, they've got the wiring. They can have your entire setup done without you lifting a finger. And then you've got the place for everybody to come and watch the big game. They can do simple things like just mounting a TV or complex things like voice automation. You can walk in and say, hey, let's watch a movie. The lights dim. You can have the blinds that come down. Television comes on. Surround sound perks up. Be high-tech, have your audio controlled throughout the house on the touch of a phone. One song jamming in the kitchen while you're making dinner, the other playing out by the pool where the kids are swimming. Like, you can do all of that with the folks over at AVSS, Audio Video Security Solutions. Check out the website, avss.com. You can get a free quote there. Contact the owner, Mitchell Fisher. It's Audio Video Security Solutions at avssla.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045espn.com.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR presented by Pluckers. Saints reportedly zeroing in on an offensive coordinator. What candidates remain? It's a Whiskey Wednesday, Pluckers Trivia, lots of fun stuff. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
As the gladiators of the gridiron battle it out for football's biggest prize, you'll be battling it out for one of radio's biggest prizes. It's the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Big Game Contest, where you could win $50,000 in cash if your name is drawn from the pot and you've correctly guessed the final score of the game. Get your score guesses in now at 1045ESPN.com.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Courtesy of ESPN Bet, new partner on the show, they give you $100 free when you make a bet. I'm thinking about putting that entire $100 on an exact final score in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Just to try to turn that free $100 into a lot of money. It's probably better use of the funds to try to hit a small parlay or something.
Yeah, it probably is.
But I'm thinking I might try to go for the monster.
The exacta.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Sharif, you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, sounds great to me. Let's bet on who's going to be the Saints head coach.
The Saints head coach is Dennis Allen. That's going to be easy to win.
I'm talking about 2025.
Okay, so we're firing Dennis Allen now?
Well, things aren't looking good so far this offseason. But
okay, well, we're going to talk about that. Are you still in Mobile or are you back in New Orleans?
It was a one-day trip. We went to go talk to Jeff Ireland and talk to some of the Tulane and LSU guys.
What were your impressions of Jeff Ireland's media availability? We talked a little bit about it yesterday.
It lasted about 15 minutes. It was fine. I mean, they know what they have to do. It's, business as usual. They have to find a way to hit on the draft. It hasn't been, that pretty. And we've said it a million times on this show. It hasn't been that great in the last 5-6 years. 2017, that's one question you got to ask. How do you, duplicate 2017, which is, it's a tall mountain to climb to duplicate a draft class that was epic. They just have to have the ammunition. That's the one thing he says. Without the ammunition, they can't, have the ability to draft so many successful guys. And right now they sit with the 1 and 2 and a bunch of 5s and 6s because of the comp picks. So they're not gonna, change the way I should say this. They're gonna kind of evaluate how they draft people this season, how they draft their guys. They have to evolve at some point with their draft process. Can you continue to draft just guys who are all about size and strength? You have to evolve with the game today. You have to find speed as well. So I think that's one thing I grabbed from Ireland's press conference. I think that they have to evolve in their draft process and their evaluation.
T-Bob was talking this morning that he kind of got the gist from that soundbite that you're talking about where they've got to have the ammunition, is saying Jeff Ireland really likes some more draft picks and the Saints continue to trade draft picks to move up to get one specific guy. Do you think there's obviously the director of college scouting is going to want more draft picks. That's just natural. But do you think there's maybe a difference in thinking there between Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis?
Yeah, it's a little bit. There's difference. I mean, Mickey likes to. Look, Mickey's in all this. The 2022 where they traded to get 2 first-round picks. Mickey's going to have a lot of say in doing those types of things. But now I think that they're in a position of they have to get more picks. They have to get more players. So I think that's their thinking. Is it by trading Alvin? Is it by trading Marshawn Lattimore and trying to supply themselves with some more picks in order to get younger and better and faster and more athletic? So I think they're going to have to be on the same page here. The thinking of Mickey is we never move back, we move up. And Jeff Ireland is also in the boat of thinking, hey, we need more picks and we need to get them fast.
And those two ideologies don't exactly line up. What do we make of Michael Thomas's tweets over the weekend and his future with the Saints?
I'd be shocked if he's back.
Yep.
Honestly, he threw everyone under the bus, threw Derek Carr under the bus, Dennis under the bus. Not that, some people may agree with him. Some people may disagree with him. If he thinks that Derek got him injured, then Derek got him injured. I just, he's been saying a lot on Twitter since he's been hurt. And it's just not a good look, Hunt. It's really not a good look for the franchise to, I guess, to bring him back. He was good.
Yeah.
Up until he got hurt in 2020, and then boom, that first game against the Bucs in 2020, he hasn't been the same since that injury. And it's this. We're not going out on a ledge and say he just doesn't like Derek Carr. I mean, let's just say that he's not a fan of Derek Carr.
What do you think the city thinks of Michael Thomas? I'm getting some mixed reactions on the YouTube videos that we put up in response to what his tweets were yesterday. And some people have his back and staunchly defend him and say Derek Carr stinks. And some people have said this guy needs to get out of town.
That's where it is. I mean, it depends on who you talk to.
Yep.
Some people are like, hey, man, why are you talking when you haven't been healthy since 2019? And then there are some fans, like you said, are like, yeah, it's Derek Carr's fault that he got hurt. He and Derek don't see eye to eye. That ball may have been a bad ball, but he hasn't been on the field. I mean, the best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available for the Saints. And it's unfortunate because the guy is talented, but if you can't play, I guess there's no room for you on the team. So that's, one position they have to address this offseason and find some other guys alongside AT, Chris, and Rashid.
What do you think they can do with Michael Thomas?
I just think you move on. I mean, I don't think you can really trade him. I think you take that. That's why they restructured the contract a bit last offseason, made it incentive based. So I think they just part ways, And it's unfortunate, man, because he was really good until the injury. And I just think that maybe his frustration has boiled over to social media. He's unhappy. Maybe it's because of the injuries, and the injuries are finally, it's a mental thing, man. If you're injured for so long, you can't do what you love doing. You do things like that. You get on Twitter and you start rambling off about your quarterback or the franchise, and I just don't know if you could keep him around the young receivers at this pace.
Why do you think the offensive coordinator has not been hired yet?
And I know the speculation is because of Derek and Dennis, and maybe they just don't want to put themselves in that situation. If those guys, if that coaching staff goes poorly, they get fired, and doesn't look bad on that offensive coordinator, which I said it's one of 32 jobs. You should want the job. And some guys are just like, Gerard Johnson staying with the Texans. I want to stay with C.J. Stroud, a young guy who I've helped build with Coach Slowick, the offensive coordinator, and maybe it helps me get a better job down the line with a young quarterback and a stable, head coach. That's how some of them are looking at it. They just don't want to come here. Maybe they just don't want to be with instability right now where things are, it's shaky waters. I mean, do you blame them? No, but you have to think about it. If you're a QB coach or a passing game coordinator, it's your chance to get one of 32 jobs. And if everyone gets fired and goes south, but you do well, you'll get another job. So it's a move up for that person.
Obviously, Brian Griese still has to coach in the Super Bowl, and Clint Kubiak still has to coach in the Super Bowl. Is there a chance that it's just taking a long time because it's one of those two guys and they don't want to announce that until they're done playing?
It could be. I mean, it could be. I would personally, Fletcher and I both said it. We like Brian Griese, a guy who played quarterback, who's good with quarterbacks. He's, he's got the skin on the wall to, talk to Derek Carr and, push him to be better. The Clint Kubiak thing is just Dennis Allen's good friends with the Kubiak family, the Texas A&M tie, which, how much I love. It could be one of those two guys. Kubiak has the time in Minnesota as well. So I personally, Hunt, I would like Brian Griese. I would like Mark Brunell. If Mark Brunell wanted to, be the offensive coordinator of the Saints and come back where he was a backup quarterback for a couple of years. So that's the direction you got to look, man. You got to look at those veterans who played in the game, who know how, the offenses work, how quarterbacks work. And if for me, and you might be right, it might be Brian Griese, it might be Clint Kubiak, but I would like Brian Griese personally because of his track record and what he's done.
Chatting with Sharie Aack, WDSU down in New Orleans. Let's shift gears. Tough one for the Pels against Boston, where they were right there and had a chance to win it and just couldn't make the plays late. It kind of seems to be a narrative around this franchise. Is that fair?
Yeah, the crunch time minutes are starting to get bad. I mean, they're either getting blown out, blowing out a team, or just losing close games. And it's usually in the crunch. I mean, they turn over the ball a little too much. I think Christian Clark put out a stat that they're 30th in turnover percentage in crunch time. They're 20.5% of the time they're turning the ball over in crunch time, which is not good. It's 30th in the NBA. That's not how you win basketball games. And not operating the offense in the final 5 minutes is going to lose you most games that you play in. And I told you, this is the toughest schedule in the NBA in the month of January. They have a chance to finish 8-7 if they win tonight in Houston. We'll see if Zion plays. He's been downgraded to questionable because that left foot bruise. We'll see if Herb plays because he's dealing with something. And it'd be nice if they can finish 8-7. I said if they can finish 9-6, 8-7 in this month, they're in good shape. But just the way they've been losing games, Hunt, man, this month it hasn't been pretty. The way you lose isn't great. If you lose, I understand. But if you lose the way they've been losing against these elite teams, getting blown out 5 times already in this month, it's not promising for the rest of the season. It's just you're beating good, bad teams, and you're losing to the elite teams. It almost sounds like the Saints.
Just the Saints have. Well, I guess both franchises have some significant expectation. Question: is there a concern for you with the future of the organization with this group, or is it just a deal where they're losing to some of the top teams because they're not one of the top teams?
Look, I mean, you see in these stretches of games where they're playing, it's hard to call Oklahoma City elite, but what they have is a good young group. But with SGA, Shea gets out there in the crunch, and All-Star takes over a game. You need your All-Stars to take over a game down the stretch. Where Zion started to do it in the beginning of the fourth quarter, they had a 10-point lead, but then what a good team does, like Boston, the veteran team, they clamped down on his one move and forced him to do something else, and it didn't work. Your stars have to be stars in the closing minutes. And right now, the stars aren't being stars in closing minutes. And if it doesn't work out after this season, you start thinking to yourself, you part ways with one of the two guys, Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson, and try to recoup and get some, more talent. You don't want more picks. You want to just try to get more young veterans in here that can get this team over the top. Because if it doesn't work, why do you just keep on, trying to define insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and getting a different result?
It's the Pels in Houston tonight, 7 o'clock over in Hustletown. Sharif, we appreciate the time on a different day. We'll talk next Tuesday.
I promise you, one of these days, it's going to be a full, positive phone call we're going to have on this show. One of these days. I feel like it's just been a little too negative this year. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll make it happen. It's just a little bit of a disappointing run down there in NOLA, but something will turn around, and we'll get happy about it.
Yes, hopefully.
He's Sharie Aack, WDSU, down there in New Orleans with us every Tuesday. Was at the Senior Bowl yesterday, so he made a little bit of time for us here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Protect yourself from power outages with our friends over at Boudreaux's Electric. They're a certified Generac dealer, a premier Generac generator dealer. Neil and Melissa have operated Boudreaux's Electric for 40 years. I can promise you this when they come over to install a generator at your home. One, it's going to be customized to your needs. Not all generators are the same. Depends on how many square feet you have, what you want powered, when the power goes down. They'll customize it for you, and when they come over to install it, you're going to have a full-time Boudreaux's Electric employee there to install it. They're going to use the highest quality in copper and tubings, and they're going to do the majority of that install under the ground so that it looks good while it's functioning for you to power your home in the event of a power outage. We have them for ice storms. We have them for those afternoon thunder showers in the summer, and we certainly have them for hurricanes. So give Boudreaux's Electric a call and just have the peace of mind that comes with having a generator and knowing you're not going to lose power. 225-300-9389. 225-300-9389 is the number. That's our friends at Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development. outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana.
For a Thursday edition of Off the Bench, Jake and T-Bob wrapping up their final day of Senior Bowl coverage from Mobile, Alabama. They'll continue to talk college football, obviously, and we'll have our Munchie segment with LSU executive chef Michael Johnson. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This February, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of a $1,000 cash prize to help out. Signing up is as simple as heading to 1045ESPN.com. It's our annual holiday rebate gift to you from Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Also like to give a shout out to the Bayou Ford chat. You can watch all of our shows on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel and drop your comments in the Bayou CDJR chat. Bayou has reopened after a total loss due to Hurricane Ida with an incredible new Jeep showroom, new and used inventory, and a beautiful new service waiting area. Check out BayouCDJR.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I'm guessing that holiday rebate is yet another multi-$1,000 thing that I can't win.
Yeah, I don't think we're eligible for it.
That's real disappointing. Just very sad. I could use $2,000 to be quite frank.
I could too.
I'd be good at getting that $2,000. I would use it wisely.
Would you?
Probably on diapers and.
Yeah, then that would be wise.
It's fairly wise. We got to have them. There's a lot of diapers involved at the Palmer House currently.
Oh, by the way, how's the spider going?
Did not remember anything about spiders.
Really?
It was a one-night deal.
Wow.
Nookie, I think, put on in Twitter, he was asking about that for What If Wednesday. For those that missed it, Myers saw a spider for the first time last week, and it literally caused him to wake up in the middle of the night for the second time in his entire life since he slept through the night at like 6 weeks old. But he has not talked about it since. So I think we're in the clear until he sees another spider.
I mean, honestly, this is probably the best baby I've ever heard of. I mean, like I've never heard of a baby literally never waking up.
He never wakes up.
Unbelievable.
It is amazing. We're very lucky. I do appreciate it and like understand how lucky we are. I've got friends. Like I had one buddy, his second child like would not sleep. They had to hold the child and walk in the heated bathroom, like pace for like hours while the child just screamed to go to sleep. I realize there are a lot of those stories out there, Myers man just a sleeping machine. It's just the way it's been since he's 6 weeks old. But the spider got him, but we have not had another issue since then. All right, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. This video is on Twitter going crazy. The wind was blowing so hard today at Pebble Beach that Tony Finau hit driver on the 120-yard 7th hole. 7 at Pebble. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Like, it's a gorgeous hole. And for days like today, which is an extreme day, like they wouldn't even let spectators out on the practice round today because the wind was blowing so hard. It's absurd. But, like, the one time I was fortunate enough to play Pebble Beach. Like, I played the 7th hole. We played it from one tee up from the pros played. It was like 105 yards, and it's downhill, and the wind wasn't blowing. It was like the easiest hole I've ever played. But obviously, sometimes the wind blows really hard, and you got to hit 6-iron 120 yards, which makes things really difficult. It's a beautiful hole. That's a great hole, but it needs the wind, and I didn't have the wind when I played it, so made a par. Love to see that.
The PGA Tour announced this morning that a host of sports team owners have grouped together to infuse more than $2 billion into the tour. This is the end of Live Golf. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that.
I'll take
it. Sorry.
I know this is a long process here.
I was hoping you'd say take it.
No, you can't. I mean, they've got John Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton who are playing with two guys that no one's ever heard of. One's Caleb Surratt, who left Tennessee to go play in Live Golf overnight. So consider me Team Nick Dunlap on that. He's playing Pebble Beach on the PGA Tour, and Caleb Surratt's playing God knows where for Lib. But they're the players who obviously know a lot more than I do seem to be sensing something positive. Adam Scott talked to the folks at No Laying Up earlier today and said there's some good things happening. This is the start of it. Just kind of wait. Rory McIlroy was saying, yeah, welcome him back. Like, let's get back together. Let's do this. Golf's split in half right now, and it's terrible. There's no question about that. But there are people now, like the force behind Live Golf, the Saudi investment fund, has no interest in making money on Live Golf. They are just pumping money in it to disrupt golf, to invest funds elsewhere, and to sports wash their reputation. These owners, one of which is the owners of the Cubs, the Ricketts family, the Fenway Group is involved, Tom Henry and them, they're in this to make money. So they are putting money into the PGA Tour to make it better and grow it and then get a return on that investment. So this is a different infusion of money than the Saudi Arabia money. So there's got to be some changes that happen, and it's got to involve the folks over at Live one way or another. It feels like it's a global golf tour that's coming, although a good point was brought up on No Laying Up earlier today. Like, is that more lucrative than the TV deals you can get in the United States? If 1 week you're in Dubai and 1 week you're in Northern Ireland and 1 week you're in Australia and then you're back in California and then you're over in Florida, like, is that more lucrative than just playing the PGA Tour? Like, I don't know the answers to those kind of things. Golf is in an awful spot right this second because half the players are playing some stupid thing overseas and half the players are playing in the PGA Tour with watered down events. That's bad. They got to figure out a way to fix it, and hopefully these guys are the first step to that.
Well, Hunt, do we need to talk about the fact that the Ricketts family dropped 8 or 9 figures on PGA Tour and they haven't signed a free agent?
Some people are not too thrilled with that in Chicago. I understand. I would rather take the money out of the PGA Tour and put it towards, say Cody Bellinger. Maybe, that'd be good. But they want to buy soccer teams. They want to buy all the property around the Cubs. They have a budget for the Cubs. We all wish it was a little bigger, but there's some people that are cranky that they're trying to buy golf instead of a first baseman.
All right, moving on. Damian Lillard's going to drop 40 in his return to Portland tonight. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I don't think that was an unceremonious exit there.
No,
he put in a lot of sweat equity there, was the face of that franchise for a long time. And
they didn't do anything.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything and didn't put anything around him, and now you kind of move on. So I don't know that there's a huge chip on his shoulder tonight, although you would want to play well back where you spent a lot of time in your career. Seems like everybody can score 40 in the NBA these days.
Yeah, it's
I'll go ahead and say he's going to score 40.
All right, last one here. ESPN's Kylie McDaniel listed Paul Skeens as the 7th best prospect in baseball. There are 6 better than Skeens. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that. You'll be familiar with some of the ones that are in front of Skeens. One's Dylan Cruz, who he has at number 5. He's got Wyatt Langford ahead of both of them. He's got Langford at number 4. Langford skyrocketed up to AAA like Skeens and Cruz did last year. And then you got Junior Caminero from the Rays. You've got Jackson Churio from Milwaukee, who's going to be up this year. And then you've got Jackson Holliday, who was the first pick in the draft a couple of years ago as a number 1 prospect, and he's going to be with the Orioles this year at the age of 20. So, like, I understand some of it, but, like, Skeens is the best pitching prospect according to this, and I think is better than the 7th best prospect. When you got a guy who throws that many strikes and has that good a slider with a 100-mile-an-hour heater that doesn't take any days off, like,
yeah, like I wonder, is this just straight up? Because is it not accounting for like what we mentioned earlier about if you take Cruz or Skeens? Like Skeens is going to be having probably a bigger impact, as a starting pitcher and potentially, giving your team multiple wins, whereas position players aren't.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that takes into account here. I think it's just in terms of how good is the player.
Okay.
And like I would, if you were giving me like Paul Skeens or Jackson Holliday, like right now, I probably would take Jackson Holliday. Like he's that advanced at this point in his young career. He's actually younger than Skeens, but he's got more skins on the wall in minor league baseball, and he'll be. But I would probably struggle to take anyone else other than Holliday with Skeens, even Cruz, because I love what Dylan did here for 3 years. Skeens obviously here for just 1, but I have a hard time believing that 6 guys you think are going to have a better go at it than Paul Skeens. Saw Paul Skeens in the press box the other day watching the scrimmage over at Alec Box Stadium. I was braving the cold up there or escaping the cold up there in the press box, and he was doing the same. Had his pup there as well. That'll do it for Take It or Leave It and this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you find your sound, you can find us. Open the show talking LSU football recruiting. Talk Saints offensive coordinator is What If Wednesday. Tennessee and Virginia suing the NCAA. What does that mean? Sharie Aack on the Saints and Pels as well. Catch all that on demand. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back same time, same place tomorrow. It's the Hunt Palmer Show on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Happy New Year from your friends at Front to Back Boat Service. And what better way to kick off your new year than by taking your boat to the next level? Get the boat of your dreams, and that's where Front to Back comes into play. You want that spot lock trolling motor that's going to keep you right there on the water where you need to be. How about some forward-facing sonar that actually shows you the fish before you even cast? Custom stereo jobs, all of it. Sherman family's been doing it for 38 years. Go to fronttobackboatservice.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball.